But Julie, in your book, you talk about this idea of design for behavioral change.
Mm-hmm.
Can you maybe drill down a little bit further on that and explain to our listeners, even from a high level, what that means when you talk about design for behavioral change in the context of learning?
Right. Yeah. And basically all workplace learning is intended to change behavior, right? Otherwise we wouldn't do it. I mean, there's a few cases where maybe we are creating a nice benefit side program and teaching employees something that they're just interested in or whatever. I mean, I know that can happen, but by and large, the vast majority of the learning experiences that we're creating in organizations is geared towards some kind of changing of behavior. And a lot of it, does work in terms of information or procedures to change behavior. But I'm really interested in those chewy questions of when is it really a case of they know what to do, but they're still not doing it? And then kind of unpacking the reasoning behind that. Another framework that I really like is one from Susan Mickey and her team at University College London Center for Behavior Change. And she's a model called COMB, which is capability, opportunity, and motivation. So it overlaps somewhat with the way that I do gap analysis. But, is the person capable of doing the change? Do they have the knowledge, but they also have the physical ability to do it? Do they have the opportunity? And for opportunity, we look at both what's the social environment? Does it support the change? And then what's the physical environment? Does that support the change? And then motivation, do they have reflective motivation? So do they see this as their job? Is, this part of their goals? Or is it something that they have value or have ambitions about? So if you're looking at something like, ERP implementation, do people view this as a genuine tool to help them do their jobs better? Do they view it as just another hassle that they have to go through that's going to get in the way of them doing their jobs while all of the stuff is going on? And so that would go to this sort of idea of reflective motivation. And then automatic motivation, which is the other category, is things like biases or habits. And we know whenever we're dealing with kind of system, any kind of change, people have a lot of things that they've automated, especially around work and so forth. So there's a bunch of things that I do during the day that I do automatically without even thinking about them. And then when you change the process that people go through, they have, the analogy I always use is if you're used to driving in the US on the right side of the road, and you go to one of those countries where you have to drive on the other side of the road, you have all these automatic things that don't work.
Yeah.
I have to have like a no jaywalking rule when I go to London or something, because my instinct about where the cars are coming from is pretty much always wrong.
Right.
And so that's often what people are fighting. Like if I start at this company and I learn this and the system's already in place and I learn it, I'm not having to battle against an old way of doing things as I learn the new thing. I'm just learning the new thing. And so that's one of the big factors that we see in a lot of these, organizational change kinds of things, where it's not only that I need to be convinced this is valuable, or it's not only that I need to make an effort, but I'm actively fighting the tide of wanting to turn into the left-hand lane rather than the right-hand lane, because I have this automatic thing that is left over from the old way that things were done.